Not starting soon, tell a friend. We're live now.
There
Not
you go.
medical advice. All right, but where's my other one? It's slightly better. It has a little more.
Or God forbid medical
God
advice.
forbid.
There you go.
You have to like inject the spiritual into it. It's that important.
Spiritual. There you go.
Yeah, we're trying to be 4D in a 3D world. You feel me?
Well, you're already playing on the 7th dimension, so I don't even know.
Ooh, imagine what that is. Now I get a headache. You ever think about yourself thinking?
No, but I have thought about some of the other thought experiments. Are you big on thought experiments?
No, but lately, I mean, I've been getting into philosophy, and lately I've been trying to think about myself observing,
And what have you
because
found?
we are the observed and the observers. So when you are like, let's say I'm looking at a clock, right?
Yeah.
I'll observe, okay, the time, and then
Yeah.
I'll observe myself looking at the clock. But then if I observe the next level, I start getting a headache, man. That stuff is wild.
Well,
and it's kind of like us trying to figure out what's going on with all this.
But why are you going through this? I'm not judging it. I'm coming from a why is now the moment you're going, what is my place in the universe?
Because now is the only time that matters, Darshan. This is all we have.
Well, you could have thought about it when you're 20, but you didn't. You thought about it
we
now.
We can't live in the past, man.
So
and maybe I am
it's
thinking
not a regret
about it.
thing.
No, maybe I am thinking about it in my 20s. I'm not there right now. You know?
Or maybe you are and you just don't know it.
Exactly. Now you're catching
See?
on. Now
See?
you're catching on. This is just as complex as figuring out Walgreens breaking up. Who
Yeah.
else to bring on than a pharmacist, right? If we're gonna talk about Walgreens,
I can name a person I'd bring on, someone like Renita Tundon who actually worked for Walgreens. Todd Urey is a good guy to bring on as well.
Oh, I thought you were gonna name your boy.
I always name my boy. I name all my boys.
Okay.
Speaking of, how's your boy?
Man,
you getting sleep?
Well, I am, thanks to my wife. But yeah, he's tough, man. He's tough.
To be fair, you're carrying the great load. She's just sort of helping you, right?
I'm carrying the great burden of being a podcaster. That's life is really tough, you know.
I mean, you make do. That's why you're the trooper.
Yes, I make do, and he makes do.
He makes do. You make do.
There you go. That's exactly right. It's been interesting month. He's turned a month now.
Wow.
On Sunday, yeah.
Congratulations.
Ain't no turning back, man.
Yeah, I think that was over a few months ago.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
I think yesterday was like a kind of an important moment, maybe for.
Wow.
I think this is my theory, right?
Okay.
For a paradigm shift, maybe it's in response to Trump's tariffs, but Novo Nordisk, who's been under a bit of scrutiny because I mean we've covered it here before. Americans pay the most for Ozempic anywhere in the world. It's like 10x, 20x.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that high, but go on.
And we fund a lot of the research, like through the NIH.
I'm gonna push back on that a little bit, but keep going.
Okay, it's not a zero sum that we.
No. My point is funding. I'm agreeing on the funding a lot of the research part of it. Okay. I don't know what the numbers are, but funding
might be more than
solely paying because the NIH. If let's say you're a sponsor, right? Mm-hmm. Forget the sponsor. Let's say you're a university, and you get a grant from the NIH to fund something.
Yeah.
What happens then is that let's say you're Pfizer, and you come in and say, "I like that idea." You're not just getting the idea from University X. You're paying the university.
You're paying in the tech transfer.
Which means that whether it's the NIH or whether it's someone else, you're still paying for it.
Right. So they paid for it. They paid through the tech transfer office.
Correct.
Which is a huge business stream for the AMCs. Okay, fair enough. Forget the NIH for now. We talked about that way too much.
Yeah.
But was this a paradigm shift, or is this like, could this be a glimpse? You know, can we just like pierce through the veil and like this is the future of drug companies now? It's like they go direct to consumer and they could bypass the PPMs and all that nonsense.
I honestly didn't know whether you were like tracking me somewhere because I just did an interview with Mark Bard.
We're on the same wavelength.
Man. I know. It's like the hottest thing ever. Like everyone's talking about it. I've done like multiple interviews on just this. So I'm kind of going, what is going on?
With this? We'll just do like 10-minute because we're not a pharmacy channel, but you know, for Guru Nation, just
for Guru Nation.
What's the hot take from this?
So here are a few hot takes from me. Number one, I was talking to my friend Kate. She is general counsel at Schweiger, and she's not speaking for Schweiger, but we were talking about how this is the start. This is another element of the empowered patient. And I winced when she said that. And I went, every time someone says empowered, I feel like I'm going to get screwed somehow.
Yes.
And to me, this whole, oh, we're going to empower you by being able to buy directly from the pharmaceutical company. That's great. But that means that the insurance is not paying for it anymore. I'm paying for this. It's a cash buy at that point.
Is that true, though?
In most cases, yeah.
Because insurance won't cover unless it's through a pharmacy?
Not necessarily, but that's usually who has the capabilities. So when you're going to Hims or you're going to any of the compounding pharmacies, you are buying cash. You are not paying through insurance.
Right, of course.
I don't know what the model the drug companies are using is, but the question is, are they actually using that model where they're saying...
What I heard on CNBC yesterday, and I'm not as informed as you, but Novo Nordisk is going, like, they're creating basically their own pharmacy to sell.
So I don't think they are creating their own. I didn't look at Novo Nordisk specifically. What a lot of them are doing is, number one, either partnering with Amazon or Cost Plus or whatever it is, in which case you might be able to bill. If they're creating their own pharmacy, what does that mean? Are they actually getting into third-party payers, or are they saying we'll just dispense? And there are cash-only pharmacies out there because it's a huge headache to get into dispensing.
Novo Nordisk introduces Novo Care Pharmacy.
Keep going.
Lowering cost of all doses of Wegovy to $4.99 per month.
But who's paying for it?
It looks like it's cash pay for now. For now.
Right.
This is brand new. But is there a world where this model replaces traditional pharmacy model?
So pharmacists have been dealing with this for a while, but the fact is this is not new. Lilly did this, Pfizer did this, Pfizer for All. Lilly did this, Teva's done this years and years ago. So this is not a new model.
Someone said, able to get insurance to cooperate, or was it all cash?
In all cases that I'm aware of, they're all cash. I think Pfizer for All was looking at doing it through Amazon, if I remember correctly. And if that's true, theoretically, you could combine it with insurance. But it adds a whole new level, because think about it, the way the insurance companies set up, right? So the way PBMs work is they want to demonstrate that they saved you a bunch of money. So they go to an employer and say, we'll drop your drug costs. So the employer goes, how will you guarantee me that you drop my drug cost? I will get you 90% off what the sale or the cost of the drug is. Most employers are going to be super happy about that. But what do you do instead? A lot of PBMs will go ahead and say, what we're going to do to the drug companies, tell them increase your drug 1,000-fold. So then give me 90% off. So it costs me 10% of that, which was originally what the drug company may have wanted to charge in the first place.
Right. So it's just extra grift for that PBM.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem.
And the middleman, because there's this whole thesis of like technology and not just AI, but just direct to consumer, all this stuff that's been trending for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Is to cut out the middleman of like every industry.
Right. But the question is, they're not in, would you consider insurance to be a middleman?
Not insurance, no.
But that's what PBM is. It's insurance.
But PBM negotiate on behalf of insurance, right? Or are they actually part of insurance?
Hey, Kevin.
Calvin, what? I hope I see you at SOS. I gotta, if I still have them, some cold summer T-shirts for people. And there's something interesting going on Thursday night. We'll get into conferences now. I just want to hear.
Did you finally agree on something for Thursday night?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
I may have had a lot of influence over it. But then the girls took over.
Oh, yeah.
As they always do.
It's in better hands.
Much better. But I had to be like, come on, we got to do this. Come on. So yes. And I dropped some hints. There's some, that article, the SOS article I released.
Okay.
The cover image has a lot of hints.
Okay.
So insurance is PBM, or PBM is
the
on
way insurance
behalf
works?
of
Think Independence Blue Cross, or think about Blue Cross Blue Shield. I have no idea why there's so much interest in crosses, but Blue Cross Blue Shield, Independence Blue Cross, I guess.
Speaking of which, I have it literally in front of me right now.
There you go. See,
I had to drop my from PPO to HMO once my son was born because it was ridiculous.
Can you do that? I thought you can't do that mid-year. You've got to do that at the end of each year.
No, that was through Obamacare that you couldn't do that.
But I thought even then you still have to choose it before the end of the year. No? Okay, I learned something new.
When a birth of a child is, I think they allow you to change it.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough. So oh wow, Kelvin wants to talk about PBMs. No one ever wants to talk about PBMs, but okay.
Kelvin, what a nerd, man. Let's nerd out on this.
So the big thing to take away is that insurance companies, and this is why I have a problem with, again, Mangione, is it Mangione, shooting the CEO of United Healthcare. He wasn't.
Well, everyone's got a problem with that.
Actually, that's not completely true. A lot of people are going, "I love you" letters. He literally had to go and announce, "Please only send me 5 pictures."
Yeah, but we can't prove a point by.
Oh, he has a lot of
non-existent point by showing the fringes of.
I don't think it's fringe. And I'm not a fan of this.
Don't get me started on that.
Someone who's saying it's okay to shoot someone, I have an issue with.
No, it's not even shoot; it's to murder someone.
Murder, exactly.
Pull the blood.
Exactly. So
to assassinate someone.
To me, that's ridiculous. I understand the hatred, and believe me, I've gone through it. Like, I had some serious issues with PBMs recently, but even those situations, not okay to shoot someone. But going back to the point I was making, the way these insurance companies work is they'll go and say, "Oh, you know what, doctors' offices, hospitals, we'll do deals with you. We're not getting into drug companies. It's a whole other business. That's not the business we're in." So then they'll subcontract with PBMs and say, "You deal in that business." So, but the PBM is managing those relationships and drug costs. And I don't know what link he's provided, but I'm sure that's a great link.
Overall, Helen, I'm not sure we're going to click this right now.
I'm not seeing Helen yet on my thing, but okay.
I can't even click it. Somebody in the comments click it. Let us know.
Fair enough.
I will click it later, actually. I need to educate myself on PBM.
Well, what I just told you is basically what it is. It's just they're a subcontractor who deals with just drug pricing and payment of drugs.
See, middleman.
Yeah, but would you consider them to be a middleman? They're still doing insurance.
But they're like a niche offset of like the inefficiencies of insurance. Where there's arbitrage, where there's inefficiencies, there's usually arbitrage until the tech gets better to where the inefficiencies kind of can be managed, and then you don't need the middleman. That's the general thesis of.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to figure out, to your point, if you whether PBMs do it or whether the insurance company does it itself, someone's still going to do it. Or
the drug company itself, right? Like maybe they negotiate.
In which case you don't have insurance anymore. Do you want that risk shifting? Because the truth is that in the end, someone has to take on the risk then.
I'm sure that maybe they can just do like negotiate with Medicare and Medi-Cal, the drug companies, right? And then just forget about the private insurance companies.
You could, but they would argue
it affordable enough to where people can just come out of pocket. But then you're gonna have like cancer drugs, like those things get costly, right?
Exactly.
I don't know, but I thought it was interesting, and it was on the same day Walgreens broke up.
So Walgreens, I don't think they've broken up. I think they're still discussing. Is my recollection.
Wow. Well, the headline was Walgreens.
They break up, and are they breaking up, or are they looking at being invested into?
I don't know. I saw some post on LinkedIn yesterday, or people like saying, "Hey, we still love you, Walgreens," because they were trying to.
I'm not sure I'd go that far. I mean, I didn't work at Walgreens. When I was a pharmacist, Walgreens was like one of the best places you could work. So it's a little bit sad for me, but I feel like the pharmacy industry has not evolved.
It's always strange to me how people have compassion for companies as if they were humans. Like, no, it's a collection of humans working there, but the company itself's not a human. Like, you don't have to go out.
I think you have compassion for the people who work there.
Of course.
Not for the company itself. I don't give a crap about the company.
Exactly.
But companies are also dreams, is the other part. Like I went through something with my dad recently, and like one of his companies had a problem, and it's like he's like, my dream disappeared in front of me. They may not be people, but they are your children, for lack of a better term.
Sure, especially the small business. Once you get into a publicly traded, it's
that's different.
Manipulators come in, short traders, algorithms trading the stock, shorting it.
Exactly.
It's just strange to like cheer on.
I think the moment investors come in, they're less invested at that point. To them, they're looking for return.
Yeah.
I think the founders see it differently.
If they're still there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly the point. The moment you give up that baby, that dream, it's not your dream anymore.
And it's hard to differentiate because small businesses always try to act like Walgreens.
Yeah.
But I think their main attribute is the fact that they're not. It's like
Yeah.
it makes people want to root for you as opposed to big giant corporation that's trying to shut everyone down. And
well, and that's the point. I think there is a whole discussion going on, to your point, on whether pharmacies will survive this, or will they just take on a different form? Because to your point, are pharmacies then, in your opinion, a middleman? Are doctors a middleman?
I don't think doctors are, because they see the pay. Well, I don't know.
Exactly.
Doctors don't have to choose what to treat with, right? They have to have an arsenal.
Right.
They're not committed to Novo Nordisk products or
Absolutely
Eli
not.
Lilly
Correct.
products,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They have a choice. So in that sense, I wouldn't say they're a middleman, like in the sense of like a retailer that sells Nikes and Adidas.
Yeah, but Nike and Adidas. Let's say we're
It's
talking about what's the shoe store?
Yeah, Nike goes straight to consumer, like all these companies do, right?
You could do a DTC for Nike.
Was the one. Foot Locker was the one where
Foot Locker, but Foot Locker decides which products SKUs to keep on there.
Yeah, they're basically, well, back in the day they were like style makers. Like,
correct.
Hey, if we carry your shoe, it's hot. Like everyone's gonna want it, because you didn't have marketing muscle. You didn't have a way to communicate direct to consumer. Now they did. So I'm just wondering if pharma's ever gonna do that. I thought that was interesting yesterday with Novo Nordisk.
I think it's going to keep happening because I think pharma is getting a lot of push saying your drugs are too expensive, and pharma is going, I don't want them to be expensive. I had a client once who said,
and they're like, they're not supposed to be this expensive. These
PBMs are saying, if you guys told me that I don't need it to be this expensive. Like I had a client who literally went, I want my drug my drug goes to rare disease state patients. I want to give it as close to cost as possible. But the moment they had to deal with insurance said, we're not going to carry it. We're not going to pay for it. Because number one, we have to make money in this whole transaction. Number two, we have to make profit. Number three, we have to demonstrate to our clients, which are the mom and pop stores, that we're getting you a bargain. Otherwise, they'll never hire us. So it's one of those funny things where people say, and no one likes pointing the finger at themselves, but the finger does point at ourselves as well. So on one hand, we have the cost of drugs going up, and absolutely you've got to target that and address that. But on the other hand, people have to make money along this whole process, and you're going to see that in the stock market. So the investors want to make money as well. One of those two things cannot happen. Right. So people say, oh, I don't want investors to make money, except who are the investors? We are the investors.
Yeah.
You're talking about people's pension funds. So, and those are probably one of the biggest investors there are.
The way capitalism works when it's healthy is companies make as much profit as they can until they have a reason not to, right? And that usually is from competition, technology, different headwinds that they experience.
Sure.
So I think PBMs maybe are going to be facing similar pressures from.
So that's already happening. So the FTC is already looking at them. I heard yesterday.
That's regulatory pressure. I just mean competitive market.
Competitive pressures. But the problem with competitive pressure is there is capture going on right now. So all the big PBMs are owned by like pharmacy chains. Or pharmacy chains are owned by PBMs or whatever you want to call that.
Which are starting to break up.
Well, that's the thing. So you might land up breaking them up. But the question is that really going to increase competition, or just it's going to stay exactly where it is? Because, I mean, I don't know if you saw it. CVS announced that they are looking at moving towards a cost plus model. Which is basically, I'll tell you what the cost of the drug is. I'm going to make a 15% on top of that.
Yeah, it's what contractors do and stuff.
Exactly.
I just think like this is interesting because if Novo Nordisk does this successful, and I think part of it was because they are overseas, so they had to figure out a way maybe to remain competitive. But Lilly's watching.
Lilly's already doing it.
Lilly's has their own pharmacy.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lilly has that. Pfizer has that.
And that was due to hers and Hims, right? That
So here's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of, remember I'd say probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, everyone hated cable channels. And they said, no, I'm just going to go streaming. I want everything individually.
Yeah, so then you get like 20,000 apps.
You got 20,000 different things, and you're going, I'm not freaking doing 20,000.
And then your mom doesn't know how to control it.
Exactly. Oh, God, yeah. And then you're stuck with, you know what? Can someone just reconsolidate these? And you're back to like reconsolidation.
Yeah, it's almost better to, have just cable. Yeah.
So I think we're we're in the deconsolidation phase, but there's going to be a reconsolidation again. I'd say you've got another 10, 15 years of deconsolidation, though.
Well, you do get better shows, I think. There's more pressure to create.
Are they though? I don't know. I think there's actually.
Do you see White Lotus?
I haven't seen White Lotus yet.
White
My
Lotus
point,
is
though.
amazing.
I saw the first one. I haven't seen the second one or the third one.
Perfect.
The first one's great.
Yeah.
My issue, Kevin's full of links right now. I feel like he's just gone into Google and
Kelvin,
just like,
you link. Is this Kelvin or is this Kelvin's butt? We need to know.
I know, right?
We got to get to the conferences. You just came from one. We talk about competitors on this channel. I don't give a shit.
I've been on like multiple conferences. I went to one yesterday.
Let me just put my background so people don't get confused. All right, here we go.
There you go.
SOS is next week, guys. You can still get your tickets. You can still stay at the Omni. Your boy's going, Darshan.
We're both going.
You guys are doing something, I think, extra.
We're trying to do extra. We're trying to do. I'm actually thinking of doing some extra stuff that you don't know about. I'm going to tell you about it after the call later on.
I don't know almost anything, really. I think from the founders, I know the least. And I think it's by far. And then maybe Brad is like next. Brad or Chris.
That's good to know. So
last year, Brad knew
Chris
the least.
And Dan know the least.
This year, Dan knows the least by far. And then it's debate between Chris or Brad. I think it's Chris knows second least.
Wow.
Because it's in Oklahoma, Brad knows more. He's more involved.
Okay.
Last year was...
So Yuma's not representing.
Yuma's representing, yeah.
But in terms of like knowledge.
No, I don't know what's going on really. I mean, I just found out last week there was no party on Thursday. I'm like, no, come on, we can't have this.
So how big is the shindig on Thursday?
There is. Oh,
so those people are planning on missing out.
I'll drop a hint. Okay. The rabbit hole goes deep.
Okay.
That's it. You got to text Guru to some phone number on my YouTube channel to get notified of it.
I think Kelvin says it best. Rolling on the floor laughing.
Yes. But that's next week. But you just came back from one.
I did. I went
to shine to our competitors.
I went to 3 different ones.
All right.
Since last week, I've been in 3 different conferences.
Which one was the best? Give from the best to worst in order.
I'm not going to do best to worst because they're all different audiences.
Okay, go worst to best in order.
I'm not going to do either one. Different audiences. Okay. So I'll start chronologically. Starting from latest to oldest.
Okay.
Latest was yesterday. It was at Deckard, which is a huge law firm. And they called it Life Sciences Day. It was a bunch of like general counsels from a bunch of different pharma companies. And they were talking about things like product liability.
Was that in Princeton?
No, that's another one. That's the next one I'm going to talk about.
That was J&J, right?
That was that one was Fox Rothschild. The one.
Man, you go to the elitist. You go to the elitist conferences. This is Save Our Sites for the People, man. These are the coordinator, the phlebotomist. You go to the one with Rothschilds in their name. That's the difference between
I don't own it.
Dan.
I don't
have to own it. It's invite only. I didn't get an invite.
I think you're still riffing off of the fact that it's in Princeton, but ignoring that for a second. No, yesterday's one was great, and the food was excellent. But it was all these general counsels from everything from like a really small company. Oh, see, and now Kelvin's got a new scale, the vibe scale.
Oh, well,
I don't even know what a vibe scale is.
SOS is going to be number 1 by far.
Well,
these other
we can do a recap after SOS.
We can do recaps. We can do recap during SOS. That's how much vibe we have. We'll just show you right there. No filter, no middleman, no PBMs.
No PBM. That's your hashtag? No PBM.
Nah, it's not catchy enough. Maybe a t-shirt, like a one-off.
I feel like you have a t-shirt factory somewhere in the back.
No, that's my boy Daniel. D-Rod, you'll meet him. Daniel Rodriguez. That's his idea. He's the mastermind.
A-Rod and D-Rod? We've got...
Yeah, he's like, man, let's do merch. I said, well, I did merch 10 years ago. It's all right. He's like, no, I got to do it good. So I said, okay, let's go.
Okay.
We'll have cold summer shirts as the first. The ones I'm giving out for free, the quality is not going to be as good as what you can buy, but they're free. So people...
I have to agree with Kelvin. SOS is probably going to be number 1.
Okay, that's the comment worth putting and leaving up here as you discuss the other conferences.
So you know Kelvin's coming at this point. So if you want to meet Mr. Peak, you've got to come to SOS. Ignore the rest of us. Mr. Peak will be there.
Kelvin,
Peak,
are you bringing your black hat? He knows what I'm talking about.
I know.
Okay.
Maybe he's a white hat.
Maybe to the party Thursday. Another hint.
But just to be clear, if you come on Thursday, you get everyone. You come on Friday, there's a whole other vibe going on.
No. If you come on Thursday, just to kick it off, it's the unofficial party.
It's unofficial, official, unofficial party. Okay.
Right. It can't be truly unofficial if all the founders are involved. It's unofficial in the sense that we're not really putting like it on the agenda. So it's like a kind of secret thing. Yes. Please. Okay. These two elitist conferences, no one's ever gonna be able to ever afford to go. And then what's the last?
They were both free. They were both free, just to be clear.
Okay. Times are tough for these elites.
Okay. No, but I discovered some interesting things. Number one, I discovered that Genentech's involved in a really weird, interesting case where they're being sued by these product liability lawyers. One product liability lawyer saying, you're taking a drug through clinical trials. You saw that this one drug was pretty effective, but you went for this other drug. Or this drug was pretty safe. You went for the other drug. You had a duty to bring the first drug to market, which you didn't. So is there a duty to invent? I thought that is a fascinating argument. And it's in California right now, so it's being argued.
Is there a duty to invent? What is your gut reaction on this? Obviously nuanced.
Seems stupid. But there's a chance they might win.
I know. That's what people love lawyers too.
So that's one thing going on. But the funny thing is, at the same time, there's an antitrust case going on saying that the drugs were equivalent, same exact drugs were equivalent. You shouldn't have brought it on.
But how do they even have access to their investigational
because you sue them. You sue them for it.
For thinking they might be doing this?
Yeah, basically. Essentially, there was a safety issue.
Man, we got to get out of this country and go to some island.
So I was talking to these lawyers because it's not my space. And just to be clear, not legal advice, as you can tell below.
Yeah, God forbid.
But Genentech is being sued for both bringing the drug to market and not bringing the drug to market at the same exact time. Exactly.
They can't win or lose in that case.
I guess they lose either way.
Sure. And then your other conference you went to.
So no, let me finish the other case that's going on, by the way, on the same exact time period. So a lot of clinical trials fraud, for example, how do you find out about it? Someone whistleblows.
Right.
Why do they whistleblow? Because they'll get a lot of money for it.
That's what I thought Genentech. That's how I thought they got.
That's a different case. Okay. That's usually under product liability. This is usually under the False Claims Act. So under the False Claims Act, the government can step in. Essentially, you're working on behalf of the government. And then if the government likes it, they'll take the case on. So court has come out and said, well, if they're working on behalf of the government has to deputize you, which means that'll never happen. Which means that those cases, like multi-billion-dollar cases, will just disappear. And that could be huge. So clinical trials fraud may become a whole thing that may die down because of just how this plays out.
Well, fraud pod will never die.
Fraud's still there. FDA is still there. It just won't come necessarily from relators, which is a big deal.
Okay. And then you were raving about.
Well, then there was another conference, which was the one in Princeton with Fox Rothschild, and that one was elitist. That one was pretty good too. That was Asian American entrepreneurs, and they were talking about the basics of bringing like biotech drugs to market, and that was really interesting.
What was if you had your finger on the pulse, what was the main?
Well, they were both M&A kind of transactions. They all agreed that. So this is kind of interesting to me. They were saying in both cases that 2024, the vibe was that wasn't as bad in terms of M&A as they thought, but there were more interesting choices. So there were follow-on rounds, not new inventions. People are a little skittish in terms of investing. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now, the general tone, we had at one of the conferences, they had someone coming on saying, we think that people want to invest a lot of money. So it was an investment banker. We think people want to invest a lot of money, but they want high returns for low risk. I'm like, oh, so does everyone else. That's not really useful. So everyone laughed in the room when they said that. So if you're a clinical trial site, you're getting these offers, keep that in mind. There's a lot of keep your risk low. The appetite for risk is lower. So something else to keep in mind.
I just looked at Fox Rothschild website. It's a law firm with
It is a law
1,000
firm.
attorneys, 30 offices.
Yeah.
And they have one in Oklahoma City.
Oh, do they?
Yep.
Why am I giving them a plug? But yeah.
I don't know. Sponsored by Fox Rothschild. We'll probably both get a cease and desist after
I know,
this.
right? Probably.
Okay. And then the other one.
Then I went to Site Council with Norm Goldfarb. And that was a really good conference because it was a lot of site networks and a few academic institutions, a couple of sponsors.
So the elitist of sites.
Do you think site networks are the elitist of sites?
I looked at the price to get in, and it's in the thousands.
It's always in the thousands from most places, except
SOS.
for SOS.
That's right.
But that's why you have how many people coming to SOS?
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know anything of what's going on.
Would you like me to tell you how many people are coming to SOS?
You probably know better than I do. You might have gotten
in the mid 300s. So you're going to see a lot of people.
Hopefully we get some more. Let's do 400, guys.
We're trying to hit 400. This is like one of those call-a-thons.
It's like a telethon. Let's go.
Exactly.
Darshan is going to give you 10 free hours of service. Right?
I'm open to discussing something like that if we bid on it and we give that not 10 hours, but I can give a certain number of hours so that it's a giveaway for and the money will go to charity.
Will you make Edie do it, or you're gonna do it?
we might do some kind of combined version as long as there's no conflict. And I'd be happy to pitch in because I feel like it goes for a good cause.
I think so. I think speak more about the conference you went to. I'm just poking fun at it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good conference, honestly. I think there were a lot of great conversations. It was really raising the questions that people were having about site networks. Everything from what should we do about clinical trial agreements, what are the delays in that, to M&A transactions, to disposal of records. So it's all those issues that no one's really talking about in a regular conference. So I thought that was a really good take, and this was the first time they did it. This is the second time SOS is doing it. This was the second time Deckard did it. I don't know how often the Fox Rothschild people do that one, and they were sponsoring it, so they didn't organize that one as far as I know. So, and that's just in the last week.
And now you get one more next week.
Exactly.
Then we'll come back and do a summary of what you thought and the true ranking. I want the true Darshan, not because I'm on. I know you're going to put SOS number 1 anyways.
Just tipping the scale a little bit.
Just tipping it a little. Was New Orleans fun?
New Orleans I love New Orleans. I think number 1, they have the best food in the world. Having said that, last week sucked because it was freezing cold.
Yeah, the last time I went to New Orleans, it was freezing cold. I went in February also.
Oh, see? I didn't even know New Orleans can get cold.
I didn't either until I went last year, or not last year, but last time I went in February. Freezing cold. It
was wet the whole time. It was dark. I was like, this is like the trifecta of shitty times.
Did you at least get some good eats?
So for those people who don't know, I'm like taking one of the weight loss drugs. So I don't enjoy food in the same way anymore.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I know.
You would think so. I don't mind not enjoying food anymore. The only
I have family on that.
Anymore.
I have family on that, and also some of our study participants say the same thing. Like, man, the hard part of keeping them compliant is because they know there's going to be a party, and then they know like they're not going to enjoy the party as much.
Yeah.
So then they're like, well, maybe I'll skip a dose. And it's
I never skip.
Well, yeah, because you're a pharmacist, but
yeah,
they skip so that they could enjoy, but then come back to it, and it's like causing a compliance issue with some patients, which is interesting. And these GLP-1s are not miracle drugs because they still require compliance.
It's a couple of different things.
If food is like a mental, right? Like, man, there's no real like antidote to that.
Well, so that's the funny part. It's actually again, I'm not speaking for any of these drugs. I don't represent these drugs.
I know they have some brain receptors and all that too.
Well, I'm not even going to that whole thing. I'm talking specifically. For me, what happened was the advantage of it was the fact that it decreased my craving. So it helped with things like diabetes. It helps with, that was the original intention for it.
Yep.
But it turns out it actually may affect They haven't proven it, but there's studies that suggest it affects things like Alzheimer's, affects things like cocaine addiction, affects things like alcohol addiction, affects things like heart disease.
There's going to be a wave of new studies coming out.
Correct. But it's more that they're moving away from this first generation of GLP-1s because they want to move towards muscle sparing.
Right.
So have you seen a lot of that? I'm curious what you've seen.
My PI doesn't like that aspect, but we haven't seen a lot.
Interesting.
To be honest.
Yeah. You haven't seen.
Now we're not actually checking muscle mass, so we're not doing like those tests. We're just doing eye exams. And
yeah, that was one of the concerns they had around
vision but there seems to be no concerns around that from what my anecdotal evidence. But no muscle. So I don't think they're looking for that in the studies I'm doing.
Yeah. I'd be curious of the ones who are working on that next generation. How are the results?
Well, there's dual, there's triple, there's oral, there's,
well, the oral one exists. It's existed for a while. Semaglutide exists as an oral, but no one talks about it. I don't understand that part of it.
Yeah. I can't talk too much about it, even though I don't know as much anymore. But
did you work on the studies for like the oral one?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. I didn't know you did. Okay.
We did it like all of them.
Did you?
Doing. Oh,
wow. Okay.
Soon to be doing more.
I know that's the big wave, right? Right now,
for our site, yes. In the like underserved communities where there's a lot of obesity and comorbidities, like Yuma.
Yeah.
Well, really like anywhere in the country, but Yuma especially, like places like Yuma, that's we've been getting a lot of interested sponsors, and I haven't done MASH or NAP, but just the weight loss, the heart disease, the diabetes, those kind of things.
In fact, I think Zepbound is proven to be effective. Well, the active ingredient, tirzepatide, I believe, is effective for MASH. I think it was proven for that.
Yep.
So no, I'm excited for what these studies are going to prove. Big fan.
I think so are our PIs for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to seeing you at SOS.
Yes, sir.
There's no conference like it. And then Oklahoma, I don't know what the weather will be.
Bring a jacket then? Oh, wait, no, that's Texas.
Brad said one day it might be 30 degrees, the other day might be 80. So
Joy, my girlfriend, has said it's supposed to be warm.
Thank God.
But don't take her. She's not the weather person, so bring your own jacket if you want to. Can you put also not tax, legal, or weather advice?
Weather? No, yeah. Can you get sued for giving wrong weather? You can, I guess.
I don't know. I'm not finding out.
I think I've heard a story about that. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good. We got to do another talk soon. We did 40 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, we got into some, at least what I thought was important stuff in the early on, and wrap it up with some conferences and GLPs. So all good.
Absolutely. We'll be doing a couple of live ones from there, right?
If the Wi-Fi is good. I mean, I don't know. These hotels sometimes are sketch.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We need Starlink. We need Starlink above our heads.
You don't have Starlink?
I don't have Starlink.
Your boy has it.
Do you have it?
No, your boy being Musk.
Oh, Daniel, my videographer. Oh, Musk. My boy Daniel, my videographer, had it in his van.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he still has it.
Okay, sir. This was awesome.
Comment,
good seeing you.
Share. There's still tickets. SaveOurSites.com at the Omni.